Have you ever wondered what the number 7 means when you see it in a chord name? For example, if you see a chord named C7 or C major 7th, what the heck does that mean? That's what we're going to talk about today. So, it would be helpful if you reviewed my videos that talk about how chords in a key are made out of the 7 notes of a C scale. And so when you see a chord that has the number 7 in it, that means that you're adding the 7th note of the C scale, for example, to the C chord if you're playing in the key of C. But we're going to talk about 2 kinds of 7s that you can use. So the biggest thing to know is that when you're making chords out of the notes of a scale, and we're going to do it in the key of C today, you've got 7 different notes, but what you make a basic chord out of are notes 1, 3, and 5. I'll play it louder. So when you have a C chord and you just see the name C, that it means a C chord that has a major third in it, meaning the natural 3 from the scale, that has 3 unused notes between the C, the name of the chord, and the middle note. So this third note up from the C, or from the 1 of a chord, is what determines whether a chord is major, with 3 unused notes between the name of the chord and the middle, or minor, which has 2 unused notes between the name of the chord and the 3. So here's the trick about just major versus minor. It's only the third note of the chord, 1, 3, 5, that determines whether the chord is major. So this would be C, just the C by itself. Right there you can see, made out of 1, 3, 5. And if it's the C minor chord, all you have to do is drop the 3 a half step. So the 3 is what makes a chord major or minor. So if you see the chord symbol C, that means C with a major third, and it's a major chord. If you see C with a little m, that means it's a C with a minor third, or a lowered third, so it's called C minor. All right, so now we're going to talk about 7s. So if you are looking at chord names, and if you look at my little chart here, the chord name C means C, a C major triad built on 1, 3, and 5 of the scale. To that, you could add another skip up of either the natural 7 of the scale or a 7 that's lowered a half step. But you don't call that 7 a minor 7th, because major or minor just refers to what happens to the 3 of the chord. So you can have C major, C6, C7, C9. You could have things added to the chord, but the basic triad is either major or minor, where the middle note is dropped a half a step. Okay, so then when you see a chord that says C7 as here, that means a C major chord, 1, 3, 5, and you add the 7th lowered half a step from how it naturally occurs in the scale. So it's kind of backwards of how you would expect. So if you see C7, what that means is C major chord, 1, 3, 5, adding a 7th of the scale that's been dropped a half a step, a flatted 7, or technically it's called a dominant 7. So it's not the natural 7th note from the scale, it's lowered half a step, and technically it's called a dominant. So in American music, dominant 7ths are more commonly used, so whoever invented this system decided a C7 means a 7th lowered half a step, and you add that to the triad. Now let's say you want to use the natural 7 from the scale, 1, 3, 5, the major chord, and you add the natural 7 in the scale. Well, that chord would be called a C, which means C major, 1, 3, 5, with a major 7th added. So that's kind of a code word for a C major chord, but add the natural 7 from the scale. That's commonly used more in jazz or Brazilian music. So the important thing to know is that the word major, M-A-J here, refers to the 7 that's to the right of it. Bring you back my piece of paper. So again, C means a C major chord, and you're adding a flat 7. Bad handwriting. If you just see a 7 after a C, it means a C major chord with a flat 7 added. If you see a C major 7th, or in some jazz circles they'll use a triangle for the word C major seventh, but that means a C major chord with this major seventh added. Or here's the other way to do it. I like the triangle because it's a little bit easier. So again, just to recap, when you see the name 7 in a chord, for example, here on this chord chart, C7 means a C major chord with a lowered seventh added. And that's very commonly used when you're going to switch to the fourth chord up from C, for example. It makes you want to resolve it to a different chord. So if you see the name C major seventh, again, that just means a C major chord with the natural 7 of the scale added. Shooby-dooby-doo. Ooh, that's pretty. So there you go. That's the difference between a dominant 7, also called a lowered 7th or a flatted 7th, and a major 7th, which just means the natural 7th from the scale of whatever you're building your chord from. All right, I hope that's enough about 7s for you today. Feel free to check out my website that has 10 zillion fact sheets you can download for free. The one I used today is called Music Musings number 8, How to Read Chords. Have fun!